Hey guys, thank you for joining me. So for this tutorial, I'll be using this yarn here. I have one in green and I have the red one. These are both from Placemats. I'll put all the details in the description box so that if you're doing the same, you know exactly what type of yarn to get. I'm also using this 5mm crochet hook. Okay, you can also just use any hook of your choice as long as it's not too far off from that number. So you can use a 4.5 or 5.5, even maybe a 6. And then I'm going to be needing the scissors so that I can cut my strands at the end. Okay, so let's get started. So to start this project off, we're going to start by doing a magic circle. And the way I do a magic circle is I loop the yarn around my thumb like that. I hold the X space behind with my middle finger. I slide it off my thumb. Put the hook through the hole there. I bring the yarn back and I continue to hold that space open like this with my thumb and my middle fingers. So that's the hole there. That's a magic circle. Then I'm going to chain 2. So 1, 2. And we're starting the first row of this project. Okay, so after you chain 2, we're going to do a double crochet in the magic circle, just like that. Okay, now the chain 2 that we did here, it's going to count as your double crochet, is your first double crochet. This is the second, and we're going to do 14 total. So go ahead and do 12 more, and I'll meet you at the end of this. Okay, so I have 14 double crochets here into the magic circle. So as you can see, the space here is pretty big. So the next thing I'll do is flip this work over like this and pull the string that's hanging just to close off the circle. And you can make it so that it closes completely like this, or you can leave a little bit of a gap. So I'd like to close it completely like that. Okay, and make sure you have 14 double crochets total into the same space, which is the magic circle. Okay, and that is also including the the first chain 2 that we did at the beginning of this row. Okay, now to go on to our second row, we're going to do a slip stitch right on top of the chain 2 that we created earlier to join the work. So just like that. Okay, now that we have a complete circle like that, we're going to chain 2. So 1, 2. And now we're starting our second row. You're going to do a double crochet in the same stitch right here where your chain 2 came from. Okay, so we're going to do 1 right there, and then we're going to go into the next stitch and do 2 double crochets in there. So that's 1 and that's 2. Okay, and then we're going to move on to the next stitch, which is right here, and do 2 more double crochets in that same stitch. Okay, and then we move on to the next stitch and we do the same. So 1 and 2. Oops. Okay, so we're doing this all the way around our circle until you get to this very last stitch, and when you get there I'll meet you there and we'll start off row 3 together. So go ahead and do your double crochets in each stitch, 2 double crochets in each stitch all the way to the end. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so as you can see here, that's the end of our second row. Okay, so I'm at the very last stitch where I did my 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And now to go ahead and start row 3, we're going to slip stitch right on top of this chain 2 that we created at the beginning of this row. Just right there, and you're going to do your slip stitch. Okay, so that completes this row, and as you can see, it's a full circle. Now we had 14 double crochets in the first row here, so you should have 28 in this row here. So if you're not sure if you have the number of double crochets you require, you can always go and count and then make sure you have the exact same number of stitches here. Okay, Now to go on to row 3, we're going to do a chain 2, 1, 2, and then in that very stitch where the chain 2 came from, we're going to do a double crochet. Okay, in the next stitch right here, we're going to do a double crochet as well, so just 1. In the next stitch here, we're going to do 2 double crochets in the same stitch, so that's 1, that's 2. Then we'll move on to the next stitch right here. We're going to do 1 double crochet, then we're going to move on to the next and we'll do 2 double crochets in the same stitch. Okay, so for our 3rd row, we're going to repeat what we just did here. So since I just did 2 double crochets in the same stitch, my next is going to be 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 double crochets, and then 1, 2 double crochets, and you're going to do that all around this row until you get to the last stitch here. And when you get here, I will show you guys what to do next, so I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so as you can see here, we're at the end of our 3rd row. So this is the last I did was the 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And what we're going to do here to start our 3rd row is we're going to connect by doing a slip stitch in the last stitch of the last chain 2 that we did. So now you have a full circle like that. Okay, so that's the 3rd row. We're going to start the 4th row, and we're going to do the same as we did in the previous row, which is chain 2, and then do a double crochet in the same stitch as your chain 2. And then for this row, we're going to do a double crochet in the next stitch, another double crochet in the next stitch, and then in the 3rd, we're going to do 2 double crochets in that stitch. Okay, and then in the next stitch, we're going to do 1 double crochet, in the next stitch another 1 double crochet, in the next stitch 2 double crochets in the same stitch, like that, and a second one. Okay, so just to show you guys what we're doing here. Okay, so as you can see, this is what we're going to continue to do. So in this row we did 14 double crochets. In the next one we doubled by doing a double crochet in each stitch, 2 double crochets in each stitch. In the next row, which is the 3rd row, we did 2 double crochets in one stitch, and then 1 double crochet in one stitch, and then 2 double crochets in one stitch, 1 double crochet in one stitch, and then we did that all the way around. For this 4th row, we're doing 2 double crochets in one stitch, and then 1 double crochet in one stitch, 1 double crochet in one stitch, and then 2 double crochets in the same stitch. So we're going to do this all around. So that's your row 4. For your row 5, you're going to end up having to do 3 single double crochet in each stitch before you get to a space where you can do 2 double crochets in the same stitch. Because you're increasing, you're going to have these single crochets here, or the double crochets in each stitch here, are going to increase. So we went from nothing to 1 to 2, the next one will be 3, and so on and so forth. So work your work up until you have the number of rows that you desire to have your table, to have your plate mat or table mat. So I'm going to do a total of 10 rows. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm working on my 4th row now, and I'm going to do 10 total. Okay, so go ahead and continue to do this as long as it takes for you to get the size that you're looking for. This is something that you can also use for coasters. So if you're just looking to do a simple coaster, you would probably stop in the 4th row or 5th row. But because we're doing a plate mat or a table mat, I'm going to be doing 10 rows. And also because I'm doing a Christmas theme colors, I'm going to do 10 rows of this green as we've been doing. And in the 11th to 13th row, I'm going to be adding the red color to have that Christmas theme that I'm looking for. Okay, so go ahead and continue to work with this stitch the same way as we've been doing here until you get to the number of rows that you're looking for. I'll do 10 and I'll come back and show you guys how to change the color. Okay, see you in a bit. Hey guys, welcome back. So this is the end of my 10 rows for this placemat. As you can see, that's how it looks so far. It's super nice. If you're looking to maybe just do a one solid color and not have to change, you could probably just even stop here or add a few more rows, but it already just looks great looking like that. But because this is a Christmas theme one, we're going to add our red next. So the first thing that we will do here, so I already did my slip stitch to join this final row here, and we will go ahead and take our scissors and cut that green yarn off. Okay, and then what we will do is we will just kind of secure that by kind of doing a final slip knot like that. Okay, now that we have that, we're going to take our red yarn and we're going to connect it. Okay, so just gonna go ahead and do that here. I'm liking how it looks so far. It looks super cool, and it's a very easy and basic stitch. As you can see, we just did our regular double crochet. Okay, so now that I have my yarn here, I'm going to do a slip knot just like that, so I can connect my red yarn. And I'm going to, what I usually do is I hold this in the back because this is going to be the back of the project and this being the front. Okay, so I'm going to hold the red yarn like this so that it's in the back, and right here I'm going to do a slip stitch just like that. Okay, and then you pull. So now because I did that, the red one and the green one are both on the back side of it, so that's just kind of like a little trick there. If you're new to crochet, you just kind of just do it like that. Okay, now we have that, we're going to do a chain one, and in that same stitch we're going to do a single crochet just like that. Okay, now that we have a second single crochet in that, we're going to chain one, and then we're going to skip one stitch, and in the second stitch we're going to do another single crochet and a second one in the same stitch. Okay, and then you're going to chain one, and you're going to skip this stitch here, and in the second one you're going to do a single crochet and that second single crochet in the same stitch, chain one, skip one stitch, in the next one do two single crochets in the same gap in the same stitch like that, chain one, skip one stitch, in the next stitch do two single crochets, chain one, skip one, and in the next stitch do two single crochets in the same stitch. Okay, so you kind of get the idea of what we're doing here. So as you can see, that's how this red color is going to look. So the saturation of the color is a little bit off here, but this is red yarn. As you can see, it looks a little bit pinkish, but it's actually red. So like I said, you kind of get what we're doing here. So we're chaining one, skipping a stitch, and doing two single crochets in the same stitch, and you're going to do this all around your plate mat here. You're just gonna go ahead and do it all around and come back to here. When you get to this space here, come back and I'll show you how to do the next two final rows. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, so we've reached the end of this row here, and as you can see, I did my last two single crochets in this stitch here. I chained one, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip stitch it right here. Okay, so just like that, so that joins it there. And for this next row, we're going to chain 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And in that same stitch there, we're going to do a single crochet. Okay, and then you're going to single crochet in the gap, which is the previous chain one that we did. you're going to do a single crochet there, and then you're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to do another single crochet in that same stitch. Okay, and then you're going to move on to this next gap that we had, which is the chain 1. You're going to do a single crochet there, then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then do a single crochet in that same gap, just like that. And then you're going to do a single crochet in the next chain 1 spot from previous row, chain 4, and then a single crochet in the same gap. Okay, and then single crochet in the next gap, chain 4, and then single crochet in that same gap. Okay, so as you can see, this is what we're doing here. We're creating this nice cute design here. It's like a nice finishing border to this table mat. Okay, so you're going to do 2 rows of this. So we're going to do this all around the circle. When you get to the last one here, you're going to slip stitch right in this space right here. Okay, and then you're going to slip stitch in this so you're going to single crochet in this space here, do your chain 4, do the same, do a single crochet in that same gap, and then do a single crochet in this gap, chain 4. So pretty much what we're doing here, except you're going to be doing it on top of these chain 4 spaces that we're creating in this row. Okay, so as you can see here, the next one will be a single crochet in that gap, chain 4, and then a single crochet in a gap again. Okay, so you're going to do this twice. So this is 1 row of this design, and then you're going to do another one, and when you have done 2 rows of this total, come back and we will pretty much finish up the project, because that will be the ending of it. Okay, so I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay guys, so we are done with this table mat that we have been making. So as you can see, I did my last stitch right here, and what I'll do is I will just kind of fasten these off. So we'll do a quick slip stitch right here just to close that off, and of course we're going to take our scissors and cut that off there. Okay, and then we'll secure that off like that. Now just to fully finish it off, what I'll do is I'll do a knot and then cut that off. Like that. I'll cut that off here. Okay, and then I'll just use my nail to tuck that in like that, and then that's done. Okay, and quickly we'll flip it on this side, and I'll do the same with here. You could also, what you could do if you'd like to weave in your ends, is you can use a darning needle to weave that in, but what I do is I just do this and then I cut that off. And then as well, this here where we joined our red and green yarn, I'm going to knot this here like that. We'll do 2 just to be more secure, like so, and then we'll do the same here where we will cut it off right there. Okay, we'll put our things away. Okay, so we are done with this plate mat, table mat. Okay, as you can see, this is how it looks like. I really like it. It's very cute. And you can make this in the number that you want for your table. So if it's for you and you're trying to make it for this coming Christmas, you will need to know how many plates your table can take. So you can make it 4, you can make it 6, 8, 12, however many you want, and it's really fast to do. I sat down and did one last night, and it took about an hour to finish the whole thing, so it's not very long. I will have another video where I will do the coasters that will go with this, so stay tuned for the next video. we're gonna be using the same stitch, so you're not going to be doing something very crazy. The only difference is when I add a different color, it's going to be a little bit of a different design. That's why I wanted to do a different video for it. But this is pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed making this with me. Thank you so much again. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe, comment, share, and like this video, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Ciao, ciao.